Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 129. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. Tonight we're going to be talking about Xmen 97. We've got episodes 5 and 6 to catch up on, and we're going to be talking about the Fallout series over on Amazon. If you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscription and leave a like on the video. If you're listening to us on a replay, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of all the content. And yeah, without further ado, here we go. Yo, what's happening, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
How are you?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good. New mic, I see. Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, I just felt like I wanted to get a second mic because what it is that I'm actually running two computers.
Nice.
So this is the old primary computer that I'm using right now, which is starting to piss me off. It makes me want to build a new one. Because I really like the idea of having two computers, especially if you want to record or stream. It's a pain in the ass to set up because you have to like figure out all the audio and whatnot.
Yeah, that's like putting me off doing it, dude. I need to do it, and that's putting me. The audio's putting me off big time.
So what I did to bypass it was use an audio converter or an extractor, actually. So what it is basically you plug it in, you plug in your HDMI cable to the whatever thing you use to capture. And then the output goes into the extractor, and then you have to make sure the extractor has kind of the same output for HDMI. Like if you want 120 hertz or 240 or whatever, you have to make sure it's the right amount so that it matches. Because if you try to translate a 120 on a 60 or a 60 on a 120, it won't show the video, which it pissed me off for a moment because I was like, all right, I got to update that now too because I used to have the 60. So now I've updated to the 120. It actually goes up to 8K, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah. So then I just use an optical cable to the transmitter on my head for my headset, and it's quite a bit of wires, but like once you get it, it's literally 1-to-1, dude. Like no like audio drops, no like misaligned like audio. It's perfect because if you try to listen, because if you try to listen on OBS, it's like, oh, we're gonna take like 300 milliseconds or it's gonna be off by just enough to where you're gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of worried about. I know, like Hoffman used to always tell me the awful tales of getting his audio set up and everything for his dual PCs streaming on Twitch and stuff, and it's kind of put me off. But now I've started doing multicasting, so I'm streaming on Twitch, but I'm also doing like vertical streams to my YouTube gaming channel, and it's like it's good, it's fun, but I feel like I probably need a second PC because I think my games are starting to kind of get affected by it. When I do like a PS5 stream or something, it's fine. Obviously, there's not much resources coming off the main PC, so it's fine to do it. But like I was playing Fortnite on Friday, and it was like the game was running like shit. Now I don't know if it was the game's fault or what, because I did a couple of streams last week and it was fine, but this week I had an awful trouble with it. So I do want to build a second PC. Like I've got a 2080 RTX just sitting there doing nothing. So like I might do a kind of budget build and let that be the just the PC for OBS and stuff, and then just have my main PC just for gaming, because I only recently put a 4070 Ti in it. So yeah,
nice, dude.
Like if I'm gaming offline, like the PC is phenomenal by itself, but it's just when I have like OBS and Spotify, Discord, the game, like whatever, like and now multi streaming to different platforms as well. Like it's a lot for the poor thing. Like the PC's struggling. Like,
right.
I have an i9 9900, I think, and like it's like it's a 4-year-old, nearly 5-year-old chip, and it's starting to struggle a bit.
Well, I mean, you got your worth out of it, and if you're deciding to upgrade, that's probably at that point. Like if you really want to be maxed out, like that could be a starting point there. It just takes a lot of money depending on what you're doing. So like when I make the second computer, when I make a brand new second computer, I'm actually going to take out some of the RAM from my current one, from my current gaming one, and just shovel it over to the other side so that I can have like maybe 32 on one and 32 on the other. That's perfect. That's all you really need. Anything higher than that, you're doing like video editing or software develop, like things that basically take up a lot of resources just to do like 3D effects and whatnot.
It's that'd be a bit overkill for me now, I think.
Right. And I mean, I'm always about overkill. So like I have a 4090 in the gaming computer. The current computer I'm using right now while we're podcasting is a 3080.
Yeah.
And I actually have a 4090 sitting in the closet right now.
You've been telling me that for a year, bro. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. But I was gonna say the 3080 is probably a good card as well. There's probably people listening to this going, wish I had a 3080. It's like you've got another 4090 sitting in the closet.
Dude, I get frustrated sometimes, and I'm like, I'll buy the next gen. I'll go current, and then I bought a 3080, and then the 40 series came out, and I'm like, all right, well, let's build a new computer. And so I bought two 4090s, and part of it is because like I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and I really wanted to see if I could flip it because I could scalp once in a while, but it's gone down gradually. I don't really scalp anymore. It's not worth it. I make enough money now to where it's like I'm comfortable. I just need to save up now and basically be okay.
Yeah. Facts. Let's jump into some content. So we weren't live last week, so we've got a couple of episodes to talk about for Xmen 97. I presume you're all caught up on Xmen, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Nice. Well, so yeah, we had that, and we have Fallout. Pretty much last week I wasn't geared up to talk about the entire series, but in the 2 weeks since we spoke last, I have actually watched it all now, so we could do a full series review of that, which would be good. So cool. If you're new to the channel, smash that like button, all that sort of jazz. But yeah, let's go. Xmen 97, bro. Episode 5. Now, the thumbnail for this podcast, I made it last week, and then we ended up not going live. I'm going to be very honest with you. I did not amend it to fucking add more details. I wasn't bothered. So it's last week's one. But to be honest, right, and this might be a hot take, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll disagree with me, but episode 5 was a lot better than episode 6, in my opinion. And while 6 was good, it wasn't amazing. It was like one of the lower episodes for me this season. Like, what did you think?
Well, I mean, the only reason why I would disagree is if we were running that, like if you were dying on the hill for that. And to be honest, like I don't think it's more so that you're saying it's, worse than episode 5. I just think you see it more on the side of like a roller coaster. Because you can't have this climactic moment and then just keep ramping it up like crazy. You have to have the down drop. So like, but to be completely honest, I really enjoyed 6. It's not as good. It's definitely not as good as 5 because of the way that we reached that peak of like excitement. But it was still a very strong episode because of the fact that there's so many things that were brought to light. I'm really glad that they resolved Storm's issue. They resolved Forge's issue. Like they got rid of the adversary. I really enjoyed that because it really pushed on her claustrophobia, which some people have. And that, like, even watching that was making me freak out because I was like, oh God, like imagine dying stuck in a canyon or something. Like those things are just, that's horror, dude. That's horrifying stuff.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So like I really like, we'll talk more about 5, but I just want to keep going on 6. So with like Storm, it just felt really good to have this moment where, it's kind of like when in the episode of Xmen in the past where Wolverine kind of goes out into like I think he goes into the northern section of the world and he finds like a tribe of Inuit people. And so it seems like he just kind of went off and did his own thing. It's kind of like this moment right here where like you see Storm doing her own thing because she wants to get her powers back. You get to see Forge, which I think is interesting. There's not really much known about Forge. I haven't really done a lot of research on Forge, but I know that he's a pretty decent character. But I love the fact that like in the previous episodes, we had that moment of like, I'm the reason why you lost your powers, essentially.
Yeah.
And so it kind of ties it up together. She still cares about him and wants to, make sure that he doesn't die. So like she's willing to go crawl through that space just to find that one fruit or cactus, and just free him. And I think it's great because then it also like pushes on the idea that like in some cases you should try to overcome your fears. I know like having a phobia is like one of the worst things you can have. Like imagine like a lot of people I think have thalassophobia, which is like fear of the deep ocean.
Yeah, I definitely do. 100%.
It's well, because it's like it's more unknown than space from what I understand. I could be wrong, but like it's so hard to go down there because of the pressure, basically. Like
Yeah.
you have to send down robots, and that's not as like expansive as like sending down an actual full team to do all that kind of stuff. Um, so like it's just an interesting concept. But anyways, I really like 6. I really like the storm thing. What was better about that episode was, Charles, and having that whole situation, having that like just the fact that they had like almost an entire episode based around Charles not being dead. He just got whisked away into space, and he's essentially helping out. I can't remember the name of the group, but like that's kind of like your space JLA.
Yeah.
Because Gladiator is essentially Superman.
Yeah.
It's just it's the coolest fucking thing ever, and you see it like immediately zips through like a fucking so good, and like all the like the list of his powers, Superman, like essentially just, and it's all based on his confidence and not the sun. It's just confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking cool.
No, it was cool. It was good to see Charles, and then like it made me like think automatically that. Do you remember? I had the conversation with you before we started the series, and I was saying like, isn't Charles alive? He went off into space, and then like I was like, isn't it weird that like they're saying he's dead? So obviously there's like maybe there's going to be an episode where they kind of cover exactly what's happened, why the team think he's dead. But I think at the end of the original series, he goes off into space. So I think that was like the whole story. Again, I haven't seen it. I'm just going off what the Den of Nerds was saying in one of his streams. But I was kind of like, oh, that obviously, that confirms that. Like, it's the second this episode started, you see him in space. I was like, oh, okay, all right, I guess he was right. So yeah, I'm curious. Will they do an episode kind of explaining what happened, like why the team think he's dead or why Earth thinks he's dead?
So the finale of the original is that he gets shot in the head.
Oh, okay. Again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, Gyrick shoots him in like straight in the head and kills him. So that's why you have the following episode on 97, episode 1, where like they're basically interrogating him, and he's like, and he was basically like, I just put a bullet through the head of like your leader, essentially, and it pissed them off, and so that's why they were trying to like get into his mind, which is like, that's some crazy shit. It's not like it effectively doesn't seem like torture, but being able to invade someone's mind seems very much like torture. So like the X-Men were willing to go a little bit too far.
Yeah, why not? Sure, they've got the power.
I mean, well, but that's the whole point of the show. Like you don't want to go too far. You don't want to strike fear into the hearts of everyone. And so for these, for Gyrick and for, Master Mold and all the Sentinels, those are reasons, or not reasons, but those are creations made by people who don't want to learn or understand or coexist with another set of beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy, dude. It's so good. Like, and it goes throughout the entire show. It was throughout the entire original show. Like, that's the whole point of X-Men, is like just understanding acceptance. And it's just such a fucking hard thing, especially with the world, because there's so many people. You're never going to get everyone.
Oh no, Jesus, no. No one will ever, the world will never like be a singular kind of like viewpoint on anything. Like, I was only talking about this today, and me and my girlfriend were having a conversation about like, if they could get rid of religion, for example, like that would probably stop a lot of wars. And it's like, I was like, I agree, but it wouldn't stop everything. Like there's people, humans will still find reasons to conflict with each other, whether it be like whatever race, whatever the fuck. Like, it'll turn, if it's not religion, it'll turn into something else.
Well, it's 100% resource based. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times, even in religious wars, it's resources. It's like they need shit. Like, you have shit, I want to take it.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we just discovered a load of oil. We see all those memes where it's like, and then it's like, you see all the American jets fueling up. It's like, we got to invade. It's so funny, dude. Oh, it's crazy. Sad but true. But
it'd be a shame if someone were to take it all.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stuff. Let's not go there. But yeah, like, so talk to me about episode 5. Like, obviously there was a episode 5 kind of, for me, like, I think that the episode when it started was a little slow, you know, and then you find out. Like I was watching it live and I was in Discord talking to somebody. And I was like, you know, the bit where like Ro goes off with Magneto.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, it's like he feels betrayed. I was like, oh, poor Gambit. Like, thinking, like, that was the worst thing that was going to happen to him with the episode. I was like, oh, God. I just regretted what I said later on. Like, obviously, by the end of it, like, you know, he's dead. And I was just like, no, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what a shit episode for Gambit. Like, you know, heart destroyed and then, like, just literally killed. Like, it was nuts, dude. Crazy episode.
I think it's something that we really needed in terms of the show, in terms of Marvel itself, because we're so jaded by all these things that occur. We think that all it is that they're going to get taken down, captured, and then tortured, and then we just save them later. But no, this is an actual death. Like, this is something that, like, most people don't understand is that, like, Marvel Comics is way, like, it's so gruesome. It's so, like, demeaning at times. It's very, like, it pushes beyond the threshold of, like, things that are okay. It gets very fucked up, like, very quickly, because a lot of the things in Marvel are not perfect. And I think that's why I love Marvel more than I could ever appreciate DC, because DC, the way I see DC is, like, it's near perfection. Almost every character that you see, all the heroes are nearly perfect. Wonder Woman looks nearly perfect. Like, Batman is perfect. Like, they're just built to the nines. Like, it's ridiculous. Whereas, like, in the Marvel universe, like, you could be whoever you want as long as you're a powerful character. It doesn't matter. Like, it's so fucking cool to see all these different characters. Xmen, you know, you saw a fucking character that had like, kind of like a gelatinous body with a skeleton inside. That's a mutant. Like, straight up. Like, it's like, where do you, like, I hardly ever see that in DC. Maybe I'm not reading the right comics for it, but I know that in the most part, I love Green Lantern because of the fact that there's so much more diversity in that one.
Yeah.
So
there is definitely a lot, like, you know, like Batman villains, like, you know, Solomon Grundy and stuff. Like, you know, there's definitely like monsters and, you know, Killer Croc and King Shark and all these people, like, and yeah, like even Freeze and stuff like that. Like, you know, there's people that, like, obviously have to battle a lot of diversity in DC, like, and even like Batman himself. Like, I know he's like a billionaire and he's a genius and all this stuff, but he's a very troubled person. Like, you know, like he struggles a lot. Like, you know, so life isn't too easy for him for sure. But I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. Like, they are like kind of gods. What's it like? I think the first chapter of the DCU is like called Gods and Monsters. Like, so kind of, yeah, it's kind of literally, it's in the title, like, you know. So
right. And so, like, the idea is that, like, I'm not trying to say that, you know, DC doesn't have any of that. I'm just saying that Marvel is all of that. It's essentially not being able to be accepted from the get-go. Like Spider-Man, like, fucking J. Jonah Jameson calls him a freak all the time, and he's just a normal looking kid with spider power. Like, it's not that different from, like, you know, just looking at Batman and being like, Batman can crawl on walls kind of situation. Like, if Batman can crawl on walls, would he still be a freak? No, but, like, Joker still calls him a freak. Like, true, it's these moments, like, there's different levels of freak in terms of, like, these comics. And so, like, I guess I've not seen enough of DC. Maybe I need to delve a little bit more. But, like, you have so many different, like, heroes in the Marvel universe that are just fucked up. They're fucked up. Like, you have Sentry, who has agoraphobia. You have, you know, Moon Knight, who has multiple personality disorder. You have Bruce Banner, who has anger issues. You have, like, Wolverine, who, like, can live forever. So it's like a fucking nightmare to be in a relationship with anyone, because you know they're going to die. You have, like, you have the Blob, who's, like, so fucking powerful, but he's a big dude. So, like, people might think he's gross. You have Leech, who is a Morlock, and Morlocks are fucked. Like, cause they're, like, kind of the subterranean mutants. It's so fucking, like, just diverse in that way. And it's so fucking cool, because then it kind of, like, reaches out to these moments of acceptance. And that was the whole point of 5, like episode 5 is that, like, that beginning point. And I know that it seems slow, but that's what I wanted. Like, I need that stuff. I need all the perspective, all the like introductions of different characters, all the reasons to care about all these different people. Like Emma Frost is so beloved, like even within the universe itself, because she's not only so powerful, but she's also beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shows like that kind of diversity. Like, you know, most people see that like, oh yeah, like Aurora is a fucking Omega level mutant, but like not very many people pine for her like as they do for Emma. And Emma's not even Omega level, as far as I know.
Mm.
It's just a cool concept. But anyways, I really like all the slowdowns because you want it to ramp up at a certain point where it's like, holy shit, we were just having a good time. What the fuck? And that's what we got.
Yeah, it can't stay at that level of episode 5. Like it was just, you know, it's just not attainable.
Right.
It's gotta come down.
And it kind of reaches the same point when you see like episode 3, like with was it Mojo Tendo or Mondo Tendo? I can't remember what the hell they called that console.
4, yeah.
Yeah. So like they were just chilling and then they got pulled into the universe and then it was just kind of fun. But then Mojo's like, nah, you're gonna play this until you die.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm just looking at the ratings for the show so far, like, and episode 5 has a 9.8 out of 10. Like,
as it should.
Yeah, it should, yeah, for sure. And episode 6 is sitting on an 8.1, which is still a very high score, especially for TV. Like, and funnily, the Montendo one is the lowest rated of the series with a 7.2, which still isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, dude, what do we use these ratings for if all we're gonna do is say things are good at 7?
Oh, I like to see where the fan base is kind of sitting on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just had like it doesn't affect my viewing of it. Like, you know, an episode that I think might be shit is scores high. I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. You know, everyone likes that. Maybe I don't, like, whatever, you know, or vice versa. Like, but yeah, I always just kind of like to look and just see where the fan base is sitting. You know,
so what I speculate from that is that for episode 4, I'm assuming that the majority of people watching this are not in their early 20s or late or like early 30s. Or I mean, I'm in my early 30s. So I guess I would say like late 20s to maybe early 40s would be more akin to the show because it's kind of, you know, not projecting, but it's continuing from the old school, which was in the 90s. Yeah. So it's like all this nostalgia, all the 90s kids like coming back. They see that the show's like amazing. Not very many like younger kids would be interested in this. And so when we see that a younger Xmen is being portrayed, I totally understand if people are like, I really don't care about Jubilee. I just care about the older Xmen. Because they don't put her out enough for us to really care like too much about her. But I did love the concept behind So
I
like
love seeing the 8-bit stuff, like, was really cool. Like, it was great to see. And it was just nice to see, like, like it looked like a proper video game, like a, you know, like those fucking PS, or would it be PS1 even, or like Mega Drive games? Like it just really felt like the era, you know.
Yeah.
But like the more and more the show goes on, the more I can see that it is tailored for the people who sat on Saturday mornings and watched the original cartoon. Like it feels like it's really made for those people, you know, like they're not really trying to tailor it too much to the new fan base. Like this is very much kind of like, this is for your parents, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely, 100%.
So what did you think of the what's it called? What did you think about the affair between Cyclops and Madeline? Like, do you think that it's actually Jean that's being wrong? Like, do you think she's overthinking things, or do you think that Cyclops is kind of,
I don't know,
you know, he's kind of pushing it?
It's a really tough one, like, because, like, you know, if I'm looking at it from Cyclops's point of view, like the dude, like, it thinks he's with Jean, and Jean thinks she's Jean, you know. So like, Cyclops hasn't done anything wrong. You know, the real Jean knocks on the door again. Cyclops's world is tumbled upside down. It's like, hang on a second, which one is Jean? Oh my god, I've been like married to a clone. I'm after getting her pregnant. You know, I'm like looking at it through Cyclops's eyes. I'm kind of like, Jesus, I feel so bad for him. Like, I can't even imagine what that would be like. You know, like your whole world would be upside down. and then like you find out that like your kid has this illness and it gets taken to the future, and now you've got no kid. So like
Yeah, and
it's
you
just and like where do you go from there? Like like now you're back with like the original Gene, and it's kind of like well, like for the last couple of years, I've had my whole life has gone on. I thought I've been in love and started a family and everything like that, but now it's like actually it wasn't with you, and now you're here. It's fucked up, man. It's a really fucked up story. Like it's which is what makes it so great. But yeah, I can't even imagine. And like from the Gene side of things, I think like she kisses like Logan in that episode, and then like
yeah,
2 minutes later, he's giving out to Scott for being unfaithful. Like it's like, hang on a fucking second here. You know what I mean? Like the cheeky you for giving out, like, because I think isn't the clone is trying to like telepathically link with him or something, and she catches him or something like that, and it's like, you were just kissing Logan. What are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? How are you giving him shit right now? It's a really kind of complex situation. So yeah,
it's
I'm with Cyclops, bro. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there.
I honestly like I think that with Cyclops, you're completely right. Like he's very much confused about what's going on, because of the fact that like he created this relationship with Madeline over Jean. Like, how do you break away from that? And plus, you had a kid together, so like, why not stay in touch and just kind of like understand each other's feelings? Like, Jean should be very much accepting of the fact that like they want to speak, but if it's turning into a situation of like, do you not love me anymore, or do you love me, or do you love them? Like, that's when it gets really fucking dicey, because then now you're fucking playing with fire. Like,
do you know how long the Madeline relationship had gone on for? Like, do we know?
No, that's the whole point, is that
Yeah.
they don't know when the cloning happened. They have no idea when it started. They don't know how long it's been. So
Yeah.
like, Jean is still trying to piece together where she ended and then where she restarted.
Yeah.
So it's
imagine Cyclops had been with Madeline for 6 years. They're married.
Yeah.
6 years of memories. Like, that's as real as anything to me. Like, in my opinion now. Like, I'm trying to like put myself into this situation. Like, I've been with my girlfriend for 8 years, but imagine 4 years of it was actually with a clone of her. Like, you'd be like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, how do
right.
you, like, which one do I love? Like, it's like, what the fuck? It's tough, bro.
Well, and even then, like, imagine like you have your daughter. Like, imagine the real person comes in and you're like, oh shit, I had a daughter with a clone. Like,
yeah, it's fucked up, man. I wouldn't be sleeping if I was Cyclops. So let's be honest. Like, it's actually terrifying. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Right. So like, but I understand what Jean's getting at. It's like, it's this jealousy because she's like, I'm back. Like, you love Jean, right? So you love me. So why are you still trying to connect with her? And I think Cyclops doesn't have like he doesn't have the know-how to really explain that maybe he just wants to connect with her because of the fact that they had a son together, because that's always going to be there. Like, it's that whole situation of like, it doesn't matter if you leave your baby mama, like that's still your baby mama.
Exactly. And like, Cyclops does say that he's like, that's the mother of my child. Like, and there's no spell.
You can't get around that.
Yeah, you can't get around it. Like, time travel's not, well, time travel could help, I suppose, but it's not going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, what do you do?
Right. And so like, the idea is that Cyclops in the episode where like, they were trying to figure out who's the clone, who's not the clone, he was essentially saying, like, because they had to give away the baby. At that point, he's like, I don't want to abandon him like my father did. And he said he can't deal with this. And the moment he walks away, I'm like, dude, you're abandoning him.
You just walked away. Yeah.
You just walked away. Like, you're doing the same thing your father did. It's like repeat offense, like sins of the father kind of situation. And I love how it just kind of like, it trails over. And as much as he feels like he needs to have a connection with Madeline, he didn't really like establish his beliefs that he shouldn't abandon the child, because when you see Cable, like, he's more like he's more in tune with like his mom. Like, he was wondering where his mom was, and he was trying to like warn her and tell him to stop, like everything. Like, he didn't go to Cyclops and say, hey, I need you to stop everything, and I'm sorry, Dad, like, or I'm sorry, my parents, or something. Like, No, he went straight for the mom because she cared a lot and she like put all the thoughts in his head, letting him know like she was loved, or he was loved. You know, he's going to be a great person. And he is like he comes back from the future. And I love that moment. It's like, I'm so sorry, mom. And he just fades away.
Yeah.
It's so fucking powerful. Did you see The Watcher?
I actually didn't. I didn't
Really?
notice him. Yeah, I didn't notice him, and then
It was right there.
I know I wasn't looking up in the sky, but like it was whatever way it happened. I heard people talking about it like straight after, and I was like, I didn't even notice him in that scene. But yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
It's
And then
so
obviously
fucking cool.
there was a trailer for like the end of the season, or like second half of the season, and there's a cap shield that shows up, so we're gonna get a cap in this world somewhere, which is pretty fucking cool too.
Well, because that makes sense. That's the whole thing. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Like next,
Yeah,
is how awesome is it that they are allowing all of these different characters to mingle within the same universe and not have it so fucking isolated like we've been hating this whole time.
yeah. Yeah, well, like if you think back to like the '94 Spider-Man comic, like or comic, the fucking cartoon, like where he where they did the Secret Wars in the Spider-Man '94 show, like they brought in like Fantastic Four, Captain America, the X-Men, everything, and it was the X-Men from the X-Men series, and then like Spider-Man went did the X-Men series as well at some point as well for a crossover. So they were doing crossovers in animation back then as well. So there is like it's known that there is a Captain America in that universe. So it's cool, yeah. Like, and I presume it'll be a Steve Rogers that we see because it was a Steve Rogers in that show, but I wouldn't mind if it was a Sam Wilson either, I suppose. I don't know,
I'd
I
be
don't know how they're gonna do it, like, but
I'd be down if it was a Bucky.
yeah, Bucky'd be great, man. I'd like to see Bucky with the shield and stuff. I think it'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Do,
man, I'm really looking forward to it. Like, I every week I'm kind of blown away by how much I'm enjoying this show, and it's so refreshing because, like, as I say, I wasn't a massive fan of the X-Men series when it was airing. I was like Spider-Man was my Bible, like that was the one I was watching every Saturday. Like it wasn't X-Men. I didn't mind watching a few episodes of X-Men here and there, but I wasn't religiously following it. Like I can only imagine what it would be like if they were doing like Spider-Man '98 right now. You know what I mean? I'd be fucking over the moon. Like it'd be incredible. But this show's absolutely amazing. So I'm just really thankful that we have it. And Marvel are just like they need to be taking notes because whatever they've done with this show, it's working perfectly. You know what I mean? If they can translate this into some sort of live action project, I'm hoping this is what Deadpool 3 is going to be like. I'm hoping this is what Daredevil's going to be like, and Punisher and all the live action stuff. Like they seem to be ticking the right boxes with all these shows and stuff now. So I'm kind of hoping that we come out of this slump that has been Phase 4 and 5 and just kind of get back to those great heights again. Like because it's just sad, bro. Like I've been thinking about it, like, and it's been a while since like there's been like a like. Do you remember the magic of around like Winter Soldier, Civil War? Even like Ant-Man, like stuff like that. Like the MCU couldn't miss, and then you're going into like Infinity War, and your like head's about to fucking explode when you're sitting in the cinema. Like I just miss those days, man. And I just feel like the Marvel just isn't that. The MCU just isn't that anymore. Like so, I really hope they get it back. I really do.
Yeah, it's really lost the interconnectivity with live action. It's very
Yeah.
It's so tough. And when you see like an animated show like this, which to be completely honest, like I'd be down for multiple animated shows if they're going to be going in this direction. It's just, I understand that they were trying to make multiple shows and they were trying to, maybe create origin stories and start things up for different characters. But it seems to have missed the mark so quickly afterwards. Like it's not, banking on this and trying to move into the same universe as everyone else. Like it just kind of keeps to itself, and we don't get to see anything else. And it's so frustrating. So when we see in '97, like episode 6, literally had Ronan the Destroyer, a Kree fucking fight. Like it's just. It was mind blowing. It was mind fucking blowing. Like it was just like it's like, oh my god, the Kree, and then I forgot the race of the bird people. Like it's so fucking cool. Like Charles is trying to be as accepting of them and trying to like lead, or like not lead but like become his own person thinking that maybe like the X-Men will be fine without him. And then like he tries to teach these people like the things about his world and why he wants acceptance and whatnot. And then his brain just goes like fucking haywire because he can feel that Gambit has died.
Yeah.
And
Man.
it's the best fucking moment. Like I know episode 6 wasn't as strong as episode 5, but that is the best moment because it's like he's totally coming back. Like at that point, like he can't stay now. Like there's no fucking way. And then what's gonna but at the same time, it's like what's gonna happen to Magneto? Like if he like are they just gonna go back to their old ways? Is he gonna stay with them? Or are they gonna just split off? Maybe just kind of have sectors and keep it X-Men, or are they just gonna go back to the Brotherhood? Like maybe like something's gonna happen where I don't know. But at the same time, we saw the Watcher, and at the same time, we saw Cable, and Cable was talking about like not being able to save them. So it makes me think that they've been doing this multiple times.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't Cable's first time returning. Like,
yeah, it's fucking it's so good. I love that shit. Like that's why the multiverse exists, bro. Like you gotta keep trying.
The writers of this show have just been so on the ball. Like it's been an absolute pleasure to watch. Absolute pleasure to watch. What was I going to say to you? I was going to ask you something. Oh yeah, the scene where Storm got her powers back. I was reading somewhere that they took inspiration from Man of Steel, where where Clark first learns to fly and stuff. And it really felt like that. Like it was really, really well done. It was really cool.
So like that was a beautiful moment too.
The suit and the long hair and everything. She looked badass. It was really, really
cool. It's so akin to like the comic book kind of style.
Yeah,
which I thought was really cool. Like I totally liked the Mohawk thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, but the fact that like this transformation just made her hair grow immensely, and then now she looks like she's like she even kind of looks wiser in the sense like
it's kind of like an evolution. Like,
and it's so fucking cool. Like, and I'm so happy that they fixed it, because that's that they do. She does end up getting her powers back. It's just, I was wondering how long it was going to take. And I think for this kind of show, the fact that like they're kind of going based off of certain resources, I can't remember what it's based off of, but we're essentially getting like kind of a sped up version, which is really nice. Cause then we get like all these different things and we get to like point out and be like, oh my God, Mr. Sinister is going to come back. Like we're totally going to get more Sinister. We're going to get Apocalypse. We're going to get like so many things. It seems like Phoenix might come around in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be so fucking fun.
It's good. I like the pacing of it because, the last thing you want is for something like this to be moving slow when you're only getting like 22 minutes a week. Like, you really need to be flying, and I think that's something that like the live action have definitely made mistakes with in the past where like, we've been sitting here where we would be reviewing one of these shows. I won't name names. I won't shit talk any of them, but like, there's some of them where we'd be talking one Wednesday about it or whatever. And then like the next week we'd be like, Jesus Christ, we waited a week and that was a filler episode. And it was shit,
Right.
So it's kind of like, know the time that you have and, put the best foot forward. Give us like proper built kind of episodic stories. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how it's difficult to do.
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like 22 minutes, give us like set out those 22 minutes properly, keep the audience wanting to come back. Like, and I think it's probably easier to do in anime than it is in that live action. But again, as I say, I pray that they're really taking notes and really trying to fix these things because they're onto an absolute winner here. And I just pray that they know that they're onto a winner and that they're taking notes and going, okay, we need to adapt this into the live action, take as many of these great practices as we can and just go with it because the show talks for itself. I was looking like it's sitting on a 9 out of 10 on IMDb. Like it's like the highest rate. Like it's one of, if not the highest rated Marvel piece of property out there. You know what I mean? I think it's the highest rated Marvel thing ever. Like, which is actually crazy.
Right, and I believe that it's partially because of the fact that like we finally get something X-Men related, which a lot of people have been waiting for, but. I also think that because the writing is so good, it just pulls it tenfold and it's like, holy shit, we're getting so much in just a few episodes. Like so much has happened in a few episodes. Episode 5, dude, I don't know about you, but that felt like an hour. Like I was like, holy shit, we're getting so much information and then just destruction. Master Mold was a fucking great, like, the fact that Eric is like speaks in German and says everything will be fine, and then boom, and it's like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, and like it kind of cut to the point where you know, she says, I can't feel you, but does that mean that Magneto's dead at this point? Does that mean that like we don't have Magneto in this universe anymore?
I thought Magneto was dead, and then they go and kill Gambit as well, and I was like, oh my fucking god. I was like, this is crazy, bro. Like, they're just literally like taking players off the board. Like, I was like, this is ruthless, you know?
So good.
Maybe Magneto's still alive. I don't know, but
I hope so.
Rogue definitely thinks he's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro, it was episode 5 was mind blown. It really was, because it started off real slow, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of going to be just like one of those episodes where, you know, we get to see Genosha. It's going to be kind of just like, you know, a bit of
like an info dump.
Yeah, a bit of a story builder kind of info dump episode. And I was just kind of like sitting back, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's like, you know, when he's like dancing with Magneto and stuff, and Gambit's looking on, and I was like, poor Gambit. And then shit just hits the fan. It just goes 90 out of nowhere. You're like, oh shit, here we go. Like, you know, it just went from 0 to 100. Like, it was just absolute insanity. Like, it was fucking phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. I think we have 4 episodes left.
Jesus, man, that seems so short. I wish they could just keep doing it. Just go weekly and just keep doing it. I would love that.
There's no like planned release date for season 2, episode 1 yet, so it's going to run till the 15th of May, and then we're done till God knows when. But yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm just looking at it going, fuck, I don't want this to end, bro. It's so good.
Dude, like at this, the way that they're writing this, the way that they're designing things, and the way that like the progression is going, it baffles me. It's like, just like cancel everything else, put this on the fucking map.
Yeah,
don't stop. Like you're like animated shows aren't a small train, dude. It's a fucking long ass journey. You need to keep it that way. Like, look at One Piece, like fucking over 1,100 episodes.
I was about to say.
25 years of like that.
Yeah, it's
like
wild.
And people love it, and some people hate it because they're just so like in this mode of like, oh, it's too long, it's gonna take too long.
I think it's, you know, it's tough, like for someone who for someone like me, it's just not even an option where I could jump on, because I would have to. I'm the type of person where, you know, you might say, well, you could jump on at episode 900 and it'd be fine. I'm like, oh, but I can't do that. Like, I have to start at the start. You know what I mean?
Dude, I told Katie, I said, if we start, we're not skipping any of the arcs. You like, the only thing we're skipping is filler, which doesn't matter to the story at all. It's like you can skip that, but even then, it's like 9% of the entire show. Yeah, it's like, watch it all. Well, like if you wanted to, like if you want to enjoy some of the things that they do in the non-canon space, which, to be fair, it's fun. Their movies aren't great, but I love the show.
Yeah.
So it's just like even then, like there's another anime called Detective Conan, or Case Closed. Sorry, that show's been running over 1,000 episodes as well. Not very many people know that one. I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought that show died. No, it's been going on forever.
Never even heard of it.
It's so fucking good. I'll tell you more about it offline, but like it's essentially like there's so many shows to where if it doesn't necessarily have an ending, like comics, like it just continuously goes, because there's always a story to tell. Like, just keep going. Just like fuck off with like certain other shows that you were about to make that were live action. If you haven't started production yet, or like even filming, cancel it. Get rid of it. Start working on the animations. Like, animation is where it's at, bro. Like, Disney is animated. And so like getting these live action moments, great. Save them. Save them for like good moments. Like I think we've like scrunched down too much into these live action movies, that now that we get these shows, it's too short and it's not enough information, and it's just so fucking bad.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping that like maybe they'll revive like certain other shows. Like they'll bring up Spider-Man. Maybe they'll make a new Spider-Man. It might even be like a brand new style of Spider-Man. I would love that, because they have so many different types of Spider-Man, right? Like they've got like Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited. They have Spider-Man like and Friends or something like that. They have like the
Amazing
Young
Spider-Man,
Avenger.
Spectacular Spider-Man, all this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're
many
gold.
different cool things. Like you
Yeah.
could totally make it.
Agreed. Man, we're 45 minutes in.
I know
Let's
it's just like
it's flying in. I can't believe it. But let's have a quick chat about Fallout. Because
dude, I can't have a
want to be
quick
here all
chat
day.
about that. There's so many fucking resources for that. It's so fucking good. Dude, like before I go in, I want you to do this one. Tell me what you think, because you're not
I'll tell
really
you.
new.
Yeah,
Or
so,
well, you're new.
a bit of the no, I would consider myself new. I played. What year did Fallout 3 come out? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, like was it early 2000?
Hang on.
2000.
Fallout 3, because I remember I played Fallout 3. Fallout 3 came out in 2008.
I was
So
thinking that just yeah.
I would have played Fallout 3 like probably in and around the time it came out. I think I actually bought it on like PS2 or something, or PS3 or whatever console was out at the time. I think it was PS3. And I played it for a couple of hours, wasn't really into it. I think I'd just gotten out of the vault and like was starting to explore around the real world. And I just think I was too young at the time and it just wasn't really the headspace I was in as a gamer at the time. But now that I've finished the show, like I do have that kind of want to kind of jump into one of the games or maybe a couple of the games now that I'm finished. And Fallout 4 is like the highest like bought game in Europe right now, apparently. So on Steam, like it's like #1 on Steam in Europe right now is Fallout 4.
In
So
Europe, holy shit.
yeah, and that game came out in like 2015. So it was like it's a 9-year-old game. Like that'll just show you the power of this series. Like it's absolutely amazing what Amazon have done. The show itself, I watched it with my girlfriend. Like she wasn't like crazy on it. Like she enjoyed it, but she thought it was like very slow in parts and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. Like I loved the kind of world building, the storytelling, just following like, you know, was her name Ella? Is she the main character? What's her name?
Oh, Lucy.
Sorry, that's her real name. Sorry, the actress's name is Ella. Sorry, I was thinking. But yeah, Lucy, yeah. So like even just like following her, like it was great to kind of get to know her as a character, and like she's just like I thought she was very funny, like like how she was kind of green as grass, but just like completely kind of emotionless at the same time. Like like I don't know how you felt about the show, but there's parts where like where she cuts off your man's head, for example, and you're like she's kind of just like okie dokie, let's go, and like just chops it off, like doesn't even think about it, like and like there was these really weird moments throughout the show, where like I was just like it's kind of strange that like there was no reaction out of her, or like the bit where like the girl cuts off her finger, like she doesn't even make a noise. Like I'm like kind of like what the fuck is going on here? Like, what I mean? It's like, would she not be screaming? Like, would she not be like, there's no fear, there's no nothing, there's no pain. Like, it's kind of weird. I don't know if you noticed that, like, but like, even, the dude towards the end of the series, I'm jumping around episodes all over the place here, but, the guy who was the squire who has the head, I can't think of his name. And he ends up like getting his foot damaged and he takes his sock off and like his toes, like 90% just hanging off. It's like he doesn't even bat an eyelid, like that. The fact that his like toes, like his foot's like destroyed. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, bro, like it's very unrealistic. Like you'd be passing out with the pain. Like you know what I mean? I just like I don't know, weird.
Well, there's an explanation behind that, and that's because their medical advancements are so beyond ours that it's like another day. Literally like having the ability to take a stim pack to keep yourself alive, using a med kit to like essentially like heal your broken bones, like, and just drinking concoctions, which it did fix his foot, but then it ghoulified him. That's horrible because now he's gonna become a ghoul in the later years. He's just gonna have to take that medication. But
sorry, go on. I was gonna say, just the whole ghoul thing as well. Like, obviously, I don't really know much about it, so like I'm glad that there's going to be a season 2 because I feel like there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Like we're following the main ghoul around the whole show. He was a fucking badass, by the way, like absolutely incredible. Loved the kind of past story and like how they kind of told his origin. There was parts in the show where you're kind of like, because I remember there's one point where Maximus says something about like he remembers the bombs dropping when he was a kid, and I was like, I was kind of confused by it, and I was like, are they people that are in the vaults, are they being lied to about the timeline or something? Because, you know,
No,
I know this
it's
now, I know that now, but
okay.
as I was watching it, I was kinda like, I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because, like, Maximus is talking about he remembers the bombs dropping from when he was a child. He's a human, he has to be, like, in his mid-20s. I'm like, "So, Jesus, did this happen, like, 20 years ago? And these people who are living in the vaults are living a big lie?" And, like, I was kinda confused by all that, and, like, my girlfriend was the same, like, and, I obviously, the girl had been alive because at the start of the show, when we meet him, he's, like, been dug up and, like, resurrected, basically. So I was kinda like, "Yeah, like, I believe that this guy is a couple of 100 years old or whatever, like, that's fine by me." But then, when we meet, like, at the end of the episode, again, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but at the end of the show, we find out that Lucy's father was alive before the bombs went down, but, like, I think they've been, like, freezing themselves or something,
Yeah,
and then
so
waking up and starting
yep,
civilizations in the vaults and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just it was a bit confusing watching the show with the timelines and stuff like that, but by the end, they do explain everything.
of course, yeah. The idea behind vaults 31 through 33 is that they're interconnected by a tunnel.
Yeah,
And Vault 31 is kind of the leader of the other two vaults, where it's cryogenically frozen all of the upper management of Vault Tech and certain other characters. And so whenever one dies or needs to move on, then they just unfreeze another person and make them the new overseer. And
yeah,
they always seem to win by a landslide.
mm,
Um, which to me is because it's probably rigged, so
yeah,
that they never have to worry about not being able to rule over the vaults.
yeah,
And the idea behind vaults 31 through 33 is that they were the vaults interconnected to repopulate and fix the entire world once everything on top of on the surface was wiped out.
yeah,
Um, so when Hank was pulled up, that's his name, right? Like I think his name's
yeah,
Hank.
yeah,
Um, when he pops up, his wife decides to go out into the wasteland with like the two kids.
hmm,
They go to Shady Sands, and apparently Lucy and Norm, like, they don't remember that stuff. Maybe it was just they were too young, or they didn't really notice what was going on. And he just had a vendetta because it's all about control when it comes to Vault-Tec and Robco and Repcon and those other companies. Like, they all they want is control. So like if they don't have control, like it's just that, like, they'll do whatever it means necessary um to get their control back. And
yeah,
so um nukes still exist within the world, and you can, if you were to play Fallout 76, like, nukes are readily available to launch. You just need to get the launch codes. Which I found very interesting, considering that they revealed in this show, spoilers for anybody who hasn't been there yet, but they revealed in the show that it wasn't the Chinese that actually hit us with the bombs
yeah,
in that universe. It was themselves, which makes sense because it's so, like, in the world we live in now, even now, it seems like it's so hard to even try to launch nuclear weapons or even hit people with missiles, because, like, defenses are so good nowadays. Like, it's hard to attack another country unless you're really going to start a world war.
yeah, yeah,
um
yeah. You really, if you press that button, like, you gotta be like, that's it. It's the end of the world, basically. So, other countries aren't really going to be doing it as an attack measure. So yeah, like, I think I presume, like, the story is like, Valtech want to kickstart the Armageddon, so it's like we're gonna
yep,
have to do it ourselves because no one else is gonna do it for us.
right, because, like, it's all based on experimentation,
Yeah,
and each vault has, like, an insane amount of things that happen to it. It's never good. um
mm,
The only one that might have been good was Vault 13, which is based in Fallout 1. And the only reason why, like, that vault was meant to never open, I think, from what I understand. No, no, no. Actually, it was you'll if you decide to play the very first game, which, I mean, that might be a hard one to do.
is that like, is the first one? Is
The
it like
first
a,
two are top downs.
yeah, top downs? Yeah, I probably would. Like,
Yeah.
no, not gonna happen.
Well, like, so when you play Fallout 1, you find out that, like, you're the Vault Dweller, Vault 13. The water chip breaks, but in the lore, it turns out that that vault was designed to live long enough until that chip broke, and then make them like basically push them out of the vault.
Right.
Because then they wouldn't have a source of water and they'd need to leave.
Yeah.
They do essentially kind of like make an homage to that when you saw in Vault 33, the guy comes out and he's like, our water chip broke. We're gonna need to repair it. And so like they don't come back to that. I'm assuming they're gonna come back to it later. Maybe they'll take it from a different vault. Or maybe they repair it. I don't know. Like it just depends on like the technology. It's been like probably a good amount of time. Maybe they know how to fix it now. But it's really like there's so many different homages to different shows or different games. Like you have a reference to Fallout 3 with the town that you go into. It's very much akin to Megaton. There's at the very end, like you see Hank in the T6 the T560 or T60B or something like that. He walks out and then you fucking see New Vegas and I'm like, oh shit. So like that's an indicator that we're going to get certain things canonized within that show that are going to be like, this actually happened in the game. So if you want to play the true ending for this, then this happened. So if we see that Robert House is still alive in New Vegas in the show, then we know that we never killed him in the game.
The show takes place after all the games, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw there was a website I saw a link to it that was explaining the timeline, and I think the show actually takes place after all of the games.
Yeah, it's a few years after Fallout 4. Okay. So in the timeline order, I think it's Fallout 1, 2, I believe it's 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, 4, and then 76, I think was at the beginning. And so then you have the
place before 1.
I think so. I could be wrong. It could be like, I can't remember where it's set. I could have sworn it was like earlier. It could have been, I'll double check. But essentially like you have this timeline of things that occurred and the show's aware of it. And I love that. Like they used the source material. It made sure that you weren't really going to have a hard time understanding like, wait, Shady Sands, like it should be fine, right? No, it got blown up because it's been so many years later and this happened. You see New Vegas and New Vegas is still up because of, in Fallout New Vegas, you never blow up New Vegas. New Vegas is probably going to stay up forever unless someone decides to destroy it. That's going to be a cool situation because that's going to involve the NCR, the Legion. We're probably going to see the Legion depending on like what happened. Maybe it's remnants of them. I don't know. It's just exciting to think about. There's so many things that can occur in the show within the second season that's going to be exciting. But if you have any questions about, concerns or anything about the vaults or whatever it is that you have a question about, I'm totally down to answer.
Yeah, pop the questions in the chat, guys, below in the comment section below. And Alex is a big Fallout nerd; he'll answer all your questions.
I'll do it.
I will not be answering them. I have only played like 2 hours of Fallout, so. Although by the time season 2 comes out, maybe I'll have a couple of games under the belt. So, because I'd say I might try Fallout 4 and then maybe 76 or something. I don't know.
Which is interesting. I would, if you want to play the best Fallout game, it's New Vegas. Everyone hands down says New Vegas is the best one, and I agree.
I've heard 4 and New Vegas are the two best. Yeah.
4 did really good. I think 3 is better than 4 in certain cases, but I do like 4's advancements.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking like, it's 2024, bro. Like if I was to boot up Fallout 3 now, it'd be like a tough game to look at, made in like 2008,
Oh, dude, there's so many mods. You could Skyrim in it. You could make it Skyrim style, like make HDM mods or, overhauls to the world or different, you could do whatever you want with that. That's what I love about Bethesda games is that it's very much moddable.
Yeah. Might need to look into that. Yeah, look, man, I've nothing really bad to say about the show at all. One thing I did notice, there was a lot of times where it felt like the same sets were being used. I don't know if you noticed this. Like as they were kind of walking through the wasteland, it felt like the same kind of set was used a lot, like with the kind of 4 or 5 broken down houses, and it just kind of, I know there's probably like wastelands of all this shit, but it just really felt kind of cheap. And that's the like, if I was to try and critique the show at all, like that'd be the only thing that I noticed, that I was kind of like, I feel like they're just using the same set over and over again. You know what I mean? Like other than that, I fucking loved it. Loved it. I thought it was a really impressive world build. The acting was incredible. Like, yeah, and like gore was great. There was some really good comedy in it as well. Like, you know, the bit where he's talking about like where Maximus is talking about like his dick and stuff, where he's like, you know,
Oh,
like
dude, that was awesome.
oh, it was so fucking funny, bro. It was like sometimes it gets hard, and you know, like it just like explodes, and all this shit comes out, and like, you know, he's like, obviously he's so uneducated on the surface, like, you know, it was so well done. And the bit where he's in the vault later on, and he's all chuffed in his dressing gown and everything. He's like, "You want to make my dick explode?" Oh, bro, I could not stop laughing. It was so funny. It was so good. Like, what a show.
And I love, yeah. And I love that Lucy, you know, she had her time in the vault, you know, with that one raider. And so now she like now she's had sex before. So like,
yeah,
totally. I understand. Like, she's like, I like this guy. He seems kind of nice. I could go for some sex.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good moment.
No more cousin stuff.
Exactly. Oh my God.
So funny, dude. That was so funny. I felt so sorry for that guy as well.
Dude, the Vault 31 with that Robo Brain, that seemed kind of crazy. Like I know it was for the comedy, but I thought it was like weird that they made it so small. So small.
Yeah. That was weird. I liked Matt Berry was in the show as well. He's like an English comedian. He played the other robot in it.
Oh,
and like I liked in the flashback that he was like one of the girl's friends, like in Hollywood back in the day and all. He's just
he was the original voice for Codsworth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I love it. Like, I really love it. I want more. Can't wait. Probably have to wait 2 years, or maybe next year. I don't know if we're lucky. But
depends. Maybe they'll push it out a bit for like faster and get things rolling. But you know, it's really cool how they show this Brotherhood of Steel being a lot more hard on like their squires and knights and whatnot. Like they care so much about like advancing themselves over others, and preserving like the old war stuff. But also trying to progress themselves. It's so like, it's much more radical on the Western side than it is on the East. Like in apparently like in the like, I forgot what it's called on I think it's like the Eastern or Wastelands or something like that. The Capital Wastelands. The Brotherhood there, like I never got that inkling that they were trying to be that like devoted. It was just more so like, hey, we're really trying to keep ourselves from getting like burked by a bunch of super mutants. We really need to get this technology going because we want it in the hands of like good people. We want to preserve things, but it's all, but the Brotherhood always will and always is a keep to ourselves kind of organization.
Yeah.
So it really showed in that sense, because a lot of the times, like anything that they talk about, whenever they try to, you know, say like, oh, there's a ghoul, like they hate ghouls. They absolutely hate ghouls. And I love that they kept that in there, because like now that one guy has been ghoulified, he's like, they're not going to accept me back in. Like they're going to fucking murder me.
Yeah. How long would it be before he transfers like fully, like loses his nose and shit?
It depends on how much radiation he gets near.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he starts going near highly radiated areas, he's going to deteriorate a lot faster.
Like, could he go back to the Brotherhood and alive for years on end, and like they wouldn't even notice that he's dead? Technically,
like yes and no. Like he's going to get hurt, and then he's going to heal immediately, and they're like, "No, you're a ghoul." Yeah. So like, it's a very tough situation. You pretty much don't want to be part of that group anymore. Yeah. You gotta fend for yourself. We're gonna see him again. I'm assuming we're gonna see him again.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad character.
No, I just thought it was crazy how much of a 180 he pulled when Maximus revealed himself. Like it was just one of those moments of like, holy shit! Like he trusts the Brotherhood more than this guy now. Like it's insane. Like but at the same time, he did let a knight die.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, sorry,
No,
it's
go on. Go on.
so Vault 4 is by far one of the most interesting vaults for the show because of the fact that like they made it seem like they were the ones conducting the experiments when in reality they were just trying to save the people that were, having these issues.
Yeah.
Like, how fucked up is that? Like they basically took over that vault and was like, we got to stop all these experimentations. Anybody who was still experimented on, we put them in cryogenic freeze so that we can find out like a cure for them. And then it was just so cool because then it's like, oh, this is all a misunderstanding. And then you see Maximus come out and he's like, let my friend go.
Yeah, he's just killing people and everything. He's just like, stop, stop. I loved where it was like, it looks like she's gonna get beheaded, and then he's just like, we're gonna send you outside. And I was just laughing, like, that's where she wants to go. It's like, and here's 2 weeks supplies. So good.
After that, you're on. That's it.
Yeah, after that, you're on your own. I love that it was Jerry Smith as well. Your man, who voices Jerry Smith. I said it to my girlfriend. I was like, that's the dude who voices Jerry in Rick and Morty. And then she's like, you just ruined it for me. Like, now all I can hear is Jerry. Like, he just uses his normal voice for Jerry. Like, and yeah, it's very obvious that it's him.
So,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, man. I really love the show. I don't really know.
What was your favorite part?
I just love the ghoul. Like all the ghoul scenes were great for me. Like seeing him just like going around slaying people. Like I think he had some great moments in the last couple of episodes where he kind of made a turn for the better. He kind of sympathized with, why do I keep forgetting her the main actress's name? Lucy. Yeah, I keep thinking of her real name, which is Ella Purcell. Yeah, so I keep thinking Ella in my head. But yeah, when he kind of has a bit of a sympathetic turn for her. I presume we're going to find out in season 2 that his family are still alive.
They have to be. Like, I'm pretty sure when the bombs dropped, they were frozen somewhere.
Yeah, but like when the bomb went off, I'm trying to think to the flashbacks as well. The daughter was with him, and they both rode off on the horse. So I'd like to see what happened directly after that. So I presume like he probably met up with the wife, and now he kind of knows everything. So it's kind of like he doesn't probably want to go into a vault himself. So maybe he lets the two of them go, but he doesn't want to be in a vault himself because he's so against it all.
Possibly. I mean, it could also. I'm assuming that the next bit of story is going to be that the bombs drop. He knows what's happening. He talks with his wife. His wife finds out that he was eavesdropping.
Yeah,
and then they break up essentially, and so now he's trying to kind of make up for things by looking for them and making sure that they're still alive. But she probably doesn't want anything to do with him because he didn't trust her. But rightly so.
Yeah, some of that.
It just that seems like textbook stuff right there. I kind of also want to know like how he got his like gunning skills, like how he, I really want them to push in the next season on skills and talents, or not talents, but like your attributes, basically your special.
Yeah,
I would love for them to have moments where like, maybe Lucy, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if Lucy has like any stats. But I would love to go back and see if maybe they did show her stats. Cause that's one thing I'm really interested in is like, I would assume like Cooper has, like he has skills in small guns, explosives, maybe even like, charisma, like he might have strength, like little strength, but good perception, stuff like that. Like I want it to be a little more nerdy.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. And like that's akin to Fallout. I would love for Fallout 2 or like the second Fallout season to effectively go like, we're going to get a little wacky like we did in Fallout 2.
Yeah.
So I would love that.
The show felt pretty wacky. It felt pretty wacky to me already. So like if they went wacky, it'd probably get like really crazy in my opinion. Like, cause like looking at some of the monsters, like where they have fingers and shit, like in their mouths and all, like it was like the show was pretty fucking out there. Like it was pretty crazy. So
dude, we haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen Death Claws. We haven't seen super mutants. We haven't seen centaurs. Centaurs are humans that are like fused together with other humans, and they have like toe feet and like all they just fucking
yeah.
Gross stuff.
how long do you think that Vault-Tec, like would you imagine like their original plan to wipe out the surface? Like, how long do you think that they thought it would have taken? I bet you they thought it was like, yeah, like, they'll all kill each other in 15 years or something, or the radiation will wipe them all out. Like, I don't think that they probably thought that hundreds of years were going to be passing and they'd still be all kind of frozen in vaults, like kind of waiting for the end of the world to happen.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're still behind the glass. Like it just feels like they're still somewhere around there that maybe are like still watching over everything that's going on. Cause it like maybe this is their whole plan. Maybe like they were probably expecting things to go off for like a good amount of time. And they probably didn't expect people to survive, like you said. So like I would assume maybe like a couple hundred years, like they like as it is now. But because there's like wars and things going on and people are advancing, they're like, well, shit, we can't reveal ourselves because like now we kind of look like the bad guys, so we just got to keep watching. Because otherwise they probably would have like canceled all their plans at this point, right?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, like, and again, back to kind of Hank and the whole thing. Like, is Hank the only one who's alive at the moment? Like, are the rest of them kind of frozen, or like maybe not? Maybe there's a whole like kind of like board of Vault-Tec people around the country or whatever. I don't know.
So that like I could tell you spoilers. For one spoiler, we're most likely going to see Robert House, who is like the way he hinted at like gambling and whatnot, because he's kind of the ruler of New Vegas.
Yeah.
So he's been around for a long time and he's been preserving himself. And so depending on the show, like for the second season, he's either dead or still alive.
Okay.
And I would assume he's still alive because the way that they kind of like portrayed it, we might see all of the leaders of each organization. Things like Repcon and West-Tec and stuff like that. That stuff will come over time, like will happen over time. I don't know if the leaders there are still alive. They might be cryogenically frozen somewhere. They have to be. Like those are the top leaders. They have to be somewhere around here. But we know that those.
Are there more vaults like 31 where people are frozen like that, or is 31 the only place for them?
There's over 100 vaults, so there has to be more cryogenically frozen people.
Yeah.
When you play Fallout 4, that's one of the vaults that cryogenically froze people is Vault 111. So you'll see that once you start playing it. I don't want to get too much into Fallout 4 if you're actually going to play it, because I want you to like experience that. It's pretty cool. Like it's a very cool situation. The Commonwealth and the Capital Wastes are like completely different areas compared to the western side of the wastelands. The California wastelands and New Vegas and stuff like that, it's completely different ball game, different types of super mutants. Whereas on the eastern side, it's also like it's just different ways people handle different things. The Commonwealth is mainly like where a lot of trading and like resources come from. So like hopefully we hear more about that later on. But until we get to the Capital Wastes, like we're probably going to be stuck in the western side.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
What about the cold fusion? Like that kind of felt like the whole season was gearing up towards that, and then it just kind of dropped off. Like I presume that will kind of return in the second season.
Well, what do you mean? Like, well, like it.
They kind of activated it, but then it was as if it was just kind of forgotten about. Like by the end of the series, like no one scooped it up or anything? Did they? Did the Brotherhood take it?
Well, I think that's left up to interpretation for now, but I think it's cliffhanger for a reason, so that we don't kind of think about like, or that we kind of speculate like, are the Brotherhood going to take it, or is Maximus going to take what's in that bottle and like hide it somewhere? But at the same time, like if they can reproduce that technology, that would be fantastic. They'd be able to like
restart
power up everything. Essentially. Yeah. And we know that Vault-Tec is still around because of that scientist. Like that stuff seemed very recent. So like we know like eventually it's word's going to get out that there's infinite power being produced somewhere. Someone's going to want it. It's going to be an entire story on its own. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what game to play. So you think I should play New Vegas?
So I like it depends on what you want to know. So like if you want to know like anything that's gone on in the western side, like on in the LA wastelands or the California wastelands, um, and like with Nevada, you play New Vegas. If you want to know things about the Commonwealth and the Capital Waste, so you play Fallout 3 and Fallout 4.
Hmm.
If you want to know about the Appalachian Trail, and like West Virginia, you go to Fallout 76. And then Fallout 1 and 2 are still in the western side of the wastelands. So Fallout, I would say like Fallout 1, 2, 3, and New Vegas are all on the west side. 4, 76, and well, actually 3 is on the eastern side. Sorry. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and New Vegas are on the west. It's a little convoluted. You'll get used to it. But
Yeah.
I would say if you're really driving for story, but you also really want some good gameplay, I would say New Vegas, because there's a lot of things that go on. You learn about a whole bunch of different factions and whatnot. It gets really fun to play, especially like there's so many ways to play. Like they have dynamite in the game, and you could be an explosives expert. You can play with one-handed weapons. You can do energy weapons. Like it's all in the other games as well, but it's just so fun in New Vegas because like it's very Western style. You'd be like, howdy, you got some explosives, like kind of things like that.
Yeah.
So it just gets fun.
Yeah, look, I might DM you maybe and see where to go about it. You're a bit of an expert. I'll take some of that knowledge from you. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Other like nerdy news bits or anything like that?
So even after we're done with Xmen 97, there are some animes that are going to be popping up that will probably drive it would drive me to want to talk about. One of them being Demon Slayer on May 12th. And I believe on May.
I'm down for some Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah. And I think also in May before Demon Slayer is going to be My Hero Academia, I think the next season for that. I highly recommend that show. It's definitely much longer than any of the other shows that I've recommended to you. If you haven't watched it yet, I would highly recommend Jujutsu Kaisen.
I've heard, yeah.
Because that show is just like every episode's a banger. There's never been an episode where I had a hard time watching it. My Hero Academia takes it's almost 200 episodes in already. So like that's going to be a watch, but
Nice.
but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, I would say Demon Slayer, if that's all we got, like if that's all you have knowledge of, I'm totally down to speak about that because I'm excited to talk about the next arc.
Yeah, I definitely want to kind of sit down and talk about the arc for Demon Slayer for sure. How many, like, because I know I went to the cinema to see that the special or whatever. Was that like the first couple of episodes mashed into one, or like how does that work? Like what have we seen?
We've seen the first 2 episodes in the
First two,
in the
okay.
cinema. Yeah.
So, do they release it weekly, or how does it get released when the arc actually comes out? Like, will we just skip it for the first 2 weeks because we've already seen that content and then jump in on week 3?
It's going to be weekly. I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to do the first 2 episodes in 1 week. I think it's going to be episode 1 and 2 like per week.
Okay. Right.
I mean, we can always review it and see how it feels compared to like what we watched in the movie itself. Cause like that was the first time you actually watched a movie based on based like within the show, but just kind of scrunched together.
I watched I think I watched the movie for the train arc because I think you were saying don't watch the series, watch the movie. So
Yeah.
I actually watched the train arc movie rather than the series.
And it feels better, right? Because like it's so short.
Yeah, it kind of just feels like a lot of the fillers kind of scrubbed out of it. It's just kind of all action and straight to the point.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know when I was watching the new movie, like when I was sitting in the theater watching it, I was kind of like because like the first 40 minutes of it was like a retelling of season 3, right? Like it was like all shit I'd seen already, and I was kind of like, am I like watching the wrong thing here? I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, okay, here we go. Now there's some new stuff coming up. Like, but I was kind of expected it to be all the new arc, but it was like kind of like half and half of arc 3 and 4.
It's
So
kind of like a teaser. And plus
yeah,
it's all like it's cinematic, so it's like it's just a
I know
cool feeling.
it was amazing to rewatch some stuff that I'd seen before because a lot of the show I was watching like on my like computer screen in the office in work because I was watching it on my lunch breaks and stuff. So like it was just so cool to see it on an IMAX screen. Like it was really fucking cool. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
And just before
So,
we went live, I saw Ryan Reynolds put up a thing there that there's going to be a new Deadpool trailer dropping tomorrow. So
sick.
we're recording this on Sunday, the 21st of April. So 22nd of April, new Deadpool trailer coming. So yeah, we're gonna have that to talk about next week as well. Um, what else is coming up? I think The Boys is out early to mid June, which will be like that's only like 5 or 6 weeks away. So we got the new season of The Boys, and that Joker trailer, Joker 2 trailer, seems pretty good. I'm looking forward to that as well. Did you see actually? Reynolds put up about they were gonna make their own like popcorn bucket like just after the whole Dune thing. Ryan Reynolds was saying
Really?
like yeah. So there was like a presentation from Kevin Feige at one of the like it was at a con or something or like it was like a Marvel meet or something and like they ended up showing the first 9 minutes of the Deadpool 3 movie and stuff to people who were there and they showed some of Captain America 4 and stuff like that, like, and people are really hyped about all this shit and Thunderbolts and all that sort of crap. And but Feige was on stage and he was kind of like, Deadpool. He refers to him as Deadpool, not Ryan Reynolds. So he's like, Deadpool has decided, like, breaking the fourth wall. Like, it's like, Deadpool has decided that he's going to make his own popcorn bucket for the release of the movie since everybody seems to be on a popcorn bucket buzz right now. So everyone's kind of like, what the fuck is this popcorn bucket going to be? Is like, are you going to be like taking popcorn out of his ass or something like God knows. Now in Reynolds, like he's a marketing fucking genius, like so I'm sure they're gonna do something hilarious.
Oh, dude, even if it's not hilarious, I would love for it to be just his head. Like they did that for Miles and Gwen. It's just their
Yeah,
heads. Like I would love for it to be you can choose a Deadpool head or a Wolverine head, like or the Wolverine helmet.
I think I think they'll do something like that, but I think it'll be something funny as well. Like the way the Doom bucket was like the mouth, and like everyone was kind of like real creeped out by it for Doom 2. I think
Dude for
they'll do something weird.
dude for Guardians 3, you got a whole fucking Rocket Raccoon statue with it.
That was sick. Yeah, that's sick. I don't really like the cinema that I go to. They don't really. It's not an AMC, so they don't do like the buckets that come out and stuff. But I have seen some cool shit that they do, like stainless steel buckets and stuff. Like they just have cool designs on them. But we don't get any of the gimmicky shit, unfortunately.
Oh, dude, like I've got Doctor Strange's box as a
Nice.
popcorn bucket. I've got a tin of Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Nice.
I've got like the Miles and Gwen. I've got I got buckets from like Miles, I think in a different theater, and a bucket for I think a bucket for Demon Slayer. But I
Nice.
absolutely, when I went to go see Dune, I was like, I'm not picking up the bucket. I'm not doing it.
Freaked you out a bit too much.
It's
I
not.
sort
No,
of,
it doesn't freak me out. It's just like it just doesn't seem appealing. I was like,
yeah,
if it was like a bucket and it had like the sandworm on the side poking out,
yeah,
almost as if it looks like he's eating the popcorn, that would have looked cooler.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think yeah, like it's just I would have bought like I think if I had seen it after the fact, like where I knew like they kind of blew up because like the secondhand market for them is actually crazy. Like people are selling them on eBay and shit. Like so people actually are going out of their way to get these things.
Hmm.
So in that sense, if I had seen that and then saw one there, I probably would have picked it up just to have. It'd be a cool thing to put on a shelf. Like, but
Oh yeah.
like if I was going to my first showing of the movie on opening night and I saw that thing there, and I'd be like, "Am I supposed to put my hand in there to get popcorn out and eat it?" Like I'm like, that's really fucked up. Like I wouldn't even want to do that. So yeah, it's just a real weird kind of marketing thing from them, but it's like seems to have really worked in their favor, like because everyone is fucking talking about these buckets, like so, and the fact that like Ryan Reynolds now wants to do a kind of gimmicky bucket for Deadpool 3 just seems hilarious to me. So, and you as I say, Ryan, he's gonna do something ridiculous. He'll
Dude,
definitely have him like bent over and you'd be picking popcorn out of his ass or something.
I would still love that. I'd buy two of those.
Yeah, I
Double
would too.
fisted.
Love it, dude. Love it. I saw some behind the scenes photos from Daredevil and Kingpin standing beside Vanessa. They're bringing back Vanessa for the show, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, like again, it's just more of like just Marvel doing what fans want. You know what I mean? Like I'm so happy that they backtracked and decided to like kind of scrap a lot of the episodes that they shot for this show and kind of gone, okay, we need to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit here. Like, and obviously now with how X-Men's doing and stuff like that, I think they just need to go, guys. We just need to give the fans what the fuck they want for a couple of years and kind of get them back in our corner here because all this stuff like is just not working. All the woke stuff is killing the industry. Like, and like a show like Fallout we've just talked about for fucking half an hour here. Like, technically a
Let's
female-led show without even trying, and it was just openly accepted. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it wasn't even like I didn't even think once like, oh, they're throwing a female in our face here and expected us to like follow her and all this stuff. Like, it just there was no agenda, there was nothing. Like, there wasn't anything being forced, and it was just a fucking delight to watch. Like, and that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely the way it should be. Like,
Yeah,
so
I don't need you pandering to me and telling me that they're of a certain like gender or whatnot.
yeah,
That's a secondary thing. Like you tell me that Iceman is gay and that the reason why he wasn't an Omega level mutant was because he was so afraid of coming out. Like that's a fucking story right there. Like that's fucked up. But once he came to terms with this shit, he became an Omega level mutant because he no longer held back and he had the
yeah,
confidence to be himself. And that's how you make a fucking story. When you just outwardly put it all throughout the show, like, oh, I'm this or oh, I'm that. Oh, we do it because we're this. We do it because of like you're not respecting the character. You just want to pander to us that like there's this group that you want us to accept, and we do accept them already. Fuck
yeah.
you. Don't tell us that we're not accepting them and that we have to accept. I've already accepted them. Leave me alone. Just like give me a good character. Yeah.
Game over.
Jesus.
Absolutely, man. I think that's a fantastic little ending point for this week's podcast.
We accept you.
Yes, you are accepted. The fight is over. You win. Next week we're gonna have a little more X-Men 97 to talk about, and I don't know what else. We'll talk about Deadpool 3, the new trailer. If keep your ear to the ground, any other nerdy news or anything like that from the week, let us know. Leave us a comment below if you like the content. And if you're listening to us on a replay, leave a review on Spotify or Apple Music or any of those. It all helps us out. So yeah, without further ado, bye-bye. See ya.
Hey, everyone.